School of Management Studies IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course MMPC-001 Management Functions and Organizational Processes for MBA program. Presenting Block 1 Introduction to Management, Unit-3 Role of Managers, Part 2.
Now let's talk about the characteristics of a good manager. Management literature also evidences the characteristics of a good manager in addition to the skills needed for an effective manager. Organizational experience demonstrates a good number of successful managers and not so successful managers across the world. Success or otherwise is attributed to the characteristics or traits that managers demonstrate in their functioning. It is always heard in corporate circles that people leave organization not because of the organization but because of the managers. When it comes to what are those traits that distinguish the good with not so good managers, literature and also experience does not provide a straight-jacketed, all-encompassing answer. A number of factors like the type, size, goals, strategy, team, location, along with a host of external factors like the COVID-19 in the current context, play a significant role in the organizational success, which impacts the managerial functioning. Successful managers, however, are characterized with certain traits. Now, let's learn about those traits. First one is understand the vision and communicating it. Every organization has a vision, mission, and goals that are explicitly spelled out in their vision document. The manager must have the ability to understand it and convey the same with clarity so that he is able to orient his team towards the achievement of the goals spelled out in the strategy document. Second is independent thinking and assuming responsibility. Managerial functioning revolves around decision making. Within the given context and resources, the manager must act autonomously and independently to take decisions which meet the standards of the organization. His functioning should be such that he is able to influence and empower his team, all the same assume responsibility for the results. Third comes knowledge. Organizational functioning involves complex procedures, rules and regulations, both external and internal, which the manager must comprehend in his functioning. Added to that, a sound knowledge of the competition, market, changes in the policy, technology, economic landscape is vital for ensuring success. Thus, knowledge in terms of both the theory and practice of management assumes significance, more so in the contemporary changing context, helping him to be in command of the goals of the organization and winning the trust of his team. Fourth trait is taking the right decisions at the right time. Decisions are arrived at after going through a long process. It is important that the manager must take the right decisions at the right time, but he should also have the ability to understand the whole process in such a way that he can contribute in the design stage, looking at the alternatives and then make the decision so that it contributes to the process. Decision-making function, especially taking the right decisions at the right time, makes the manager successful or otherwise. Next is demonstrating leadership and motivating the team. A manager is also a leader of his team. As a leader, the actions of the manager influence the actions of the team. On the one hand, His actions contribute to building his relationship with the team and command him the respect for his leadership traits. On the other hand, in getting things done, the manager uses this trait to influence, to inspire, and motivate them towards the achievement of the goals of the organization. Next trait is empathy. Empathy in simple terms relates to the art of knowing and understanding the feelings, needs, interests, etc. of the team members and all those with whom the manager connects in his functioning to build harmonious relationships. With the organizational expectations from the employees increasing day by day, it becomes very important for the manager to empathize with the team and others in the achievement of the objectives of the organization. Next trait is conflict resolution. All organizational activity in the current context is team-based and has no boundaries. It is but natural to have conflicts when a number of teams work from different locations with different cultures driving them. Managers must have the ability to listen, understand, and comprehend the different opinions to handle the conflicts without losing balance and taking sides. Conflict resolution demands a calm, cool, objective approach from the manager to provide a solution and manage the stresses and strains of team as well. And the last trait is emotional balance. Psychologists have earlier stressed on the intelligence quotient of the manager in the course of the managerial functioning. Research in psychology, however, put forth the importance of the emotional balance of the manager as extremely important in handling the team and the ever-changing, uncertain, volatile business environment. So learners, we have learned different traits of a good manager. Now let's move on to the changing role of managers in the current context. It is true today that for various reasons, along with the advances in technology and the tools at their disposal, the employees are aware of their duties and responsibilities and hence can manage their work and the intricate details embedded in it. There is not much for the manager to micromanage. Further, the changed environment from a manufacturing paradigm to a knowledge-driven service economy and the consequent transition from a top-down approach to employee-centered approach calls for a changed role of a manager in the current context. There are various perspectives on the role of the manager in the modern contemporary era. Let's try to understand some of these roles. The very definition of manager as one who wields power and authority to get things done in an organizational context gets changed in the changed context of self-managed employees and teams. Management is seen more as a process and that the role of a manager as one whose role is to engage everyone to get things done. It must be admitted that the contemporary context demands management as much more than getting things done with the change in the work style, work design, workplace with technology support and the employee orientation towards the work. The focus thus is seen more on the role and style of the manager than the function of management, as everyone is involved in some form of management or the other at their levels. It is thus understood that the role of a manager relates to a particular application of management and not the entire management as was done in the past. With innovation as the key driver, the knowledge-driven economy with the knowledge workers, the managerial role is woven around engaging them to complete their activities without much focus on the details of their work. Thus, a relook at the role of managers in the changed context highlights 4 roles to the manager. According to McCrimmon, Managers have to behave as investors, customers, coach, and partners as they share some attributes of each of the actors. Let's learn first of all about managers as investors. An investor tries to allocate his resources in return for the best outcomes. One of the functions of management is to allocate resources to achieve the goals and get the best return like any other investor. A good manager is thus one who can effectively use the given resources for optimum returns. In a knowledge-based economy, the manager differs from the investor in two ways. First, the knowledge workers know their work and hence bargain on the resources they tend to get from the manager. It can be unilaterally decided by the manager as can be done by the investor with the investment. Second, since teams are built by managers in organizations, they work closely with the knowledge workers, unlike the investors who maintain a distance after the investment is made. Next comes managers as customers. Effective management is determined by the customer feedback on the products or services. In a knowledge-driven context, the employees are self-targeted and self-managed and hence provide services to the organization and the manager as internal customers. Since the employees know their work, they can gauge the needs of the manager and give him services which at times even managers can overlook. In this context, they feel empowered to not only do their work but also decide on the processes of work, thus contributing to the manager and the organization as operators of business. Unfortunately, the knowledge workers are generally in short supply and hence they demonstrate more power than their customers and are able to provide more advice, thus transforming the function bottom up from the earlier top-down approach. The managerial role in the changed context is like any other customer waiting for the feedback from the employees. Now let's talk about manager as a coach. A coach is normally seen in sports guiding the players towards winning matches. Similarly, a manager in the role of a coach facilitates, guides, and coordinates the activities of his team towards the achievement of the goals. In the contemporary organizational context, where talented resources with niche skills are scarce, a manager has to essentially manage and retain the talent. In the role of a coach, the manager has to weigh his options very carefully to retain the talent. Thus, the role of a manager is seen more in coaching rather than directing the employees. And the last is manager as a partner. The knowledge workers are understood more as partners in the process of management. Organizations forge partnerships with external suppliers to fulfill many of its requirements. Employees, because of their knowledge, similarly act as internal suppliers of services and partner with the organization in the process of management. Thus, the manager must understand the changed organizational context and practice the notions of leadership and management as an investor, coach, partner, and a customer for competitive advantage. Now let's discuss the changing role of a manager with reference to perspective from managers. The very thought of a manager that comes to anyone's mind is that of a person heading a project, occupying a decent office room, and monitoring a team of people reporting to him. The role, for more than a century, restricted to well-defined set of actions. The manager was in his comfort zone with more or less stable profit line and with not much vagaries of the market to bother with. The market economy and the consequent management trends has brought a sea change in the role of a manager. Competition is the norm for every organization today. Therefore, organizations look for managers who can model and remodel their behaviors to suit the changing conditions. The focus thus is on the actions of the manager for renewed role in the modern context. Let's talk about some of those actions. First is lifelong learning. The functions of a manager earlier were performed easily by the knowledge gained through the education and managerial experience over time. The advancements in technology has, however, thrown challenges of a different order, thus making the knowledge no longer useful in the technology-driven context. Artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning has all transformed the world of work to such an extent that the manager is forced to focus on continuous learning himself and see that his team also gets on a continuous learning mode. Next is delegation. Controlling is an essential function of management. The knowledge-driven economy with knowledge workers bring in versatility to the workplace with enormous talent and niche skills. The new role of a manager demands the manager to take the team along, reposing confidence in the team, and delegate instead of supervising and policing in the name of control. The ultimate objective in the control function should be to bring the best out of every employee and see that they inculcate and work with confidence in the given task. Next is to create future leaders. Providing leadership and guiding the team is traditionally a manager's function. In the changed context, the new role of a manager demands the manager to create leaders who can manage themselves and also their peers. In the decision-making function, the manager can involve and allow employees who show promise to take informed decisions and implement them. The manager thus is able to develop leadership qualities in the team and create future leaders for the organization. Fourth is innovation is the key. Innovation is the key in the competitive scenario today. Competitive advantage presupposes quality products and services which entail innovation and creativity among the employees. Managers must innovate and encourage the team to innovate with new ideas and take on new challenges. Innovation has been taken to such a level in today's context that it has been included as a performance parameter among the employees, in so much so that repetitive tasks are no more counted and the managerial role lies in encouraging the same. Next is proactive attitude. The manager today is expected to proactively interact and encourage the team to take on challenges rather than monitor the allotted task. The role gets enlarged where the manager would inculcate the habit of proactively initiate dialogue and discussion with the team so as to bring out the best in the team. And the last is out-of-box thinking and working. Organizations today expect employees not only to do their allotted task but much more than that. The role of a manager in such a context is to break the monotony of repetitive tasks by the team and encouraging them to think differently out of the box to do the same task in a different way. Instead of a role of a problem solver for the team, the manager should draw everyone into the process, allow them to solve problems, come out with solutions, implement them, and learn from mistakes. Thus, the role of a manager demands the understanding of the evolving organization and rising to the occasion so that he is able to look into the future challenges and ready to learn and teach the team to sail through the uncertain times. So learners, That was the changing role of a manager with reference to perspective from managers. Now let's summarize the entire unit. Management is a practice which is used consciously and continually in shaping organizations. The role of managers, the functions they perform, and the processes they follow assume significance in the achievement of organizational goals. They possess skills and competencies which are critical in their day-to-day functioning. Managerial function is performed across all levels, but the fact remains that management as a practice produces contribution and consequences, and the role of the manager assumes significance in this context. The managerial functions are geared towards this end. However, modern organizations are facing challenges of a different order. The role of a manager has been transformed in the ever-evolving organizational context to understand the future challenges and ready to model the role accordingly.
You were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies, IGNOU for MBA program. Course code MMPC-001 Management Functions and Organizational Processes. Course Coordinator Professor Srilata, School of Management Studies, IGNOU. Voice over by Harpreet Kaur. Edited by Tarannum Jahan. Program assisted by Jagbandhu Jana. Program produced by Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.